In this video, I'm going to share with you the 5 most challenging succulents I have owned. I'll just tell you a little bit about my experience with them and I will let you know if I've still actually got any. So in no particular order, the first one we have, which I'm going to discuss, is my beautiful Echeveria Lowy. So I just find that this plant is very allergic to water. I probably water about 5 times a year. This one has a little bit of a backstory to it. So I actually imported this one back in 2022. And it's only just rooted, and obviously it's now 2025, so it's taken 3 years. So these are the roots on the plant. So when it was imported, it had a really long woody stem, and I chopped it down and just kind of left it in some dry soil for a year. And I did water it a couple of times and did nothing, no roots whatsoever. So I then learned that if you want a plant to root, you need to chop it more towards the head, because that's where all the energy is obviously sitting, and it uses that energy to create roots. So I did that a couple of times, left it another 6 months, nothing. So I kind of got a bit bored with it and thought, I've given up. Like, it's fine, it's alive, but I want some roots. I want it to be a proper plant. But what I did was set it on a little bit of water in a cup, and so leaf propagation, not leaf propagation, sorry, water propagation, and that worked. So the roots all of a sudden appeared. I didn't let them touch water because that would cause probably this plant to rot because of how niche it is with its water requirements. Yeah, and it's, I've just shown you the roots are growing. So yeah, it's doing well. It's now winter here, so it's not really grown a lot more. And obviously, like I say, I bought this in 2022. I watered it a couple of times then. I haven't watered it since. So the leaves are really, really firm and don't need any water at all. So it's crazy how little water this needs, and it is such a slow growing plant. So yeah, I actually grew some from seed because I just wanted to have quite a few in my collection. It's always been one that I really, really wanted and just absolutely love. So next up we have Echeveria Raindrops. So this looked amazing. When I put my succulents in the greenhouse, probably October time, I'll insert a clip. This looked incredible. It's such a beautiful plant. I love it. But in winter, I don't know what happens to it. It just looks grumpy. Probably like me in winter, actually. I hate the cold, hate the lack of sunshine, and this replicates my personality. So yeah, it just, it loses its beauty. It doesn't look very good. Sometimes it loses its raindrops. It's just a very light, hungry plant. It loves sunshine. So obviously we don't get that much sunshine in the UK in the winter, and yeah, this doesn't agree with it. So yeah, they never look very good by the end of the winter season. But when it comes to springtime, summer, it will perk back up really quickly. But I just find that really annoying because it changes so quickly over the year. And yeah, you have to have it in a high level light area. I actually left this outside, like I say, last year, and it did so well. It's got quite thin leaves. And like I say, it's got these caruncles, which are the raindrops, and they just need lots and lots of sun. So yeah, I just find that quite challenging because I want my succulents to look amazing all year round, not just half of the year. So that is why this has made my list of quite a challenging succulent. Obviously it's better if you live in a climate which has lots and lots of sunlight, even in the winter. So you might have one and it might be, you know, beautiful all year round, but not the case for me. I have the same thing every single year, and one of them I've got in my arrangement, and it was huge last year, and it's gone all small. All these leaves around the edge have died off, and it just doesn't look very happy. So I'll have to start the process of, you know, making it look beautiful again when spring comes. So next up is basically any thin-leafed Echeveria or Pacheveria or any kind of succulent which is really thin leaves. So as you can see here, they just look dreadful. I'm all about how succulents look. I want them to look pretty all year round. I'm very particular about my succulents. I grow them, you know, in the best conditions I can to make them thrive. And when they look like this, I take it really personally. It's just they need loads and loads of water, which kind of goes against succulents. They don't like too much water. They like to obviously be drenched and then completely dry out between watering. That is like the prime care tip to do with succulents, is what they need. Yeah, and these just don't really go in with that, and it kind of just freaks me out a little bit. So I water these a lot more than I would anything else. This hasn't been watered since November because it's the, like I say, the winter season. so I don't water anything because it's too cold, but they just look terrible. It looks awful. So anything with a thin leaf, I don't really want in my collection anymore. I'm just trying to find out what I like, find out what I want to keep, and then yeah, maybe get rid of these and yeah, see what happens. Something else which is quite a thin leaf plant, but one of my favourites, is this Canty. So as you can see, all the leaves are quite depleted around the edge, and this is another one which doesn't look that great in winter, but it's so beautiful. So yeah, it just annoys me with thin leaf plants that they just leave or lose obviously their plumpness so quickly, whereas something like even this, which is quite thin, doesn't look any different in the winter. It looks beautiful. So yeah, I just don't like it when they look a little bit sad. I could water it a little bit, but it just worries me because some days we could have like 10 degrees here, then it'll drop to like minus. So I just don't want to risk watering them until spring is here. Next one up is a Strictiflora Nova. I've had a really funny relationship with this plant. I'm actually embarrassed to show you now what it looks like. So this is what is left from my current one. I don't know what this is. So I'll insert some pictures of what it looked like earlier in the year. I think I got some fungus last winter into maybe springtime, and it's never really recovered. I kept it outside for most of the spring and summer, and it did look really good. It started to recover a bit, started growing some new roots, and then it just left me with this. I don't understand. So what I have done, because I'm really funny about some plants, if they're really, really pretty and I want them, I think you're not going to win, I'm going to win. So I bought loads of seeds. I think I bought about 100 seeds, and I've planted them recently, and they're actually growing. So I'll insert some pictures here. So I'm hoping to have success with them and they can live on, because this is just not very happy. It might root again and it might grow, but it doesn't look very good at the minute. So yeah, Strictiflora is just one of those ones I've always found challenging. Again, it's a thin leaf plant. I just can't cope very well with them. Maybe I underwater them. Maybe they need a little bit more than what I give, which I struggle with because succulents, like, they rot quite easily if you are overwatering them. So I always try to like err on the side of caution and just be careful with them. But this one wanted a lot more water and I wasn't willing to give it to it. So yeah, maybe next year I just need to have a trial of my seedlings and see what happens. But yeah, this is another one of my challenging succulents, and it's, yeah, you can see why. Next up on the list is a Compton Carousel, and I don't have any to show you because I don't have any which have survived. I have given up on this plant. This is my arch enemy. I've had, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them. I used to love them. I think they are beautiful, but I just can't keep them alive. I bought some last May. I think I had a group of 3, and I kept them in different conditions. So I've got 2 greenhouses. I kept one in each and one outside. They all thrived for about 3 months, and then 1 month at a time, they just started rotting really quickly. It's one of those plants that when you see the rot, it's too late, which really annoys me. I like to try and save my plants. You know, I put so much time and effort into them, and this one is just, it doesn't like me. It's fine. You know, I've come to terms with it now, and it is what it is. But it is a really beautiful plant. So yeah, I kept one outside, and it looked really, really good. It loved the sunshine. It loved the rain. But it did rot. I think it got burnt as well. So yeah, it wasn't happy in the end. And the last one I had in here actually gave me a few pups. So I started growing some nice little pups around the edge, and I was like, oh my god, I'm getting some back, which I've killed over time. And then all of a sudden it just rotted. So I'll insert a clip of it because it's beautiful. But I have actually got an alternative which I would recommend getting instead of the Compton if you have the same issues as me. It looks very, very similar, but it's just so much easier to keep. And it's this beautiful one here. It's called the Ecosi, and yeah, it looks so similar. The only difference is probably that the leaves are a bit spiky and a bit thicker. But yeah, it's just so much more hardy. It lasts so much longer. I head chop these and they grow new ones every year for me. Yeah, I don't kill these. I don't think I've killed one yet. So it's a beautiful plant, which in my experience makes a really good replacement for a Compton if you have the same issues as me. And let me know if you do. Is it me? What's happening? So I got mine, like I say, in May. I watered the ones in the greenhouse twice. the whole year and they still rotted. So it wasn't like I overwatered them. I had them in a really gritty mixture. I don't know. They hate me. But this one I love, and it loves me too. So this is good. So that's a roundup of the succulents I found the most challenging to own. If you've got these in your collection and you've got some really good care tips for me, please share them. I'd love to know. I'd love to win the battle with these succulents. I think I am over the Compton thing. I don't think I'm going to try it again. Like I say, I've got an alternative which I find a lot prettier, a lot easier. So I'm going to stick with that now. I think I've wasted enough time on the Comptons. But anything else that I've shown, if you've got any tips, please let me know. I'd love to gain some tips from you. If there's anything else you'd like to see or any questions you have on these succulents or anything else in my other videos, please let me know. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.